Guys, how you doing? So today, as I'm sitting here making a mess and waiting for people to come on, where's my rag? I wanted to do this tutorial on doing a geode cup because I love these. I think they're so pretty. And they're really easy to do. Like everybody, it's kind of like the plaid thing where everybody freaks out and thinks they're so complicated because there's a lot of colors involved, but there really isn't. It really isn't hard to do. It's a lot of fun to do. And that's why we do what we do, right? Because we want to have fun. So for me, crafting is just amazing and I love it. And the more things I learn, the better that it gets and the more fun that it gets. Like I just got my Cricut a couple of weeks ago, and oh my gosh, I've been having a blast with that, and the learning curve and learning how to weed stuff and not ruin vinyl. That's a good time. But so we're gonna do something similar to this, and this is not just your standard geo cup. I also kind of put these lines on just because, well, I thought it looked cool and I didn't know what else to do. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to do it on a mug this time because I haven't actually done it on a mug, and I thought, hey, this could be really fun to do it on a mug. So you can use any tumbler that you want to use. You can use those kind. You can use skinnies for them. You can use the fatties. You can use whatever. It doesn't matter. Like any type tumbler that you want to do it on, you can do this on there. It's not like with the plaids where you really want something that's got like straight lines on it. And that's what I love about it. And these are pretty quick to do too. There's really not a whole lot of plotting and planning to do a geode cup. The hardest part is picking out what colors that you want to do it in. So traditionally with the geode, there's multiple layers of color that all kind of go together, and you want them to look nice, but they don't all have to be the same tones. Personally, me, I do like to kind of keep it along the same lines. And so what I'm going to probably do is do, a similar color scheme, because I actually have a friend who wanted a mug and they wanted a geode mug. So I figured, why not? While I'm here on the live. So one of the things that I like to do is kind of get a plan in my head of what it is that I'm going to do with it. I've done them 3 different ways. I have done them the traditional way, where you would sand your cup, spray paint your cup, and then write in or kind of draw in your lines with either a pencil, a Sharpie, a piece of chalk, something just to give you a visual of where you were going. The problem that I found is that some of the colors didn't really work super well together. When I was doing that, because I have a dark base or a light base, and then I'm putting either a light or a dark glitter on top of it. So it didn't quite work out the way that I had wanted it to. So what I did on my last cup, which was this one, is I actually took, and after I marked it out, I used acrylic paint in a similar color to the glitter that I was going to use underneath. And it really made the colors like totally pop out. So this, this is this particular one here, which is one of Amy's. It's this metallic copper. I used sort of an orange underneath of it, and it really popped out. Where before it sort of sunk in, because I had a black base on the cup, and it sort of sunk into it. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your cups, you want to kind of try and plan, well, what color glitter am I actually using? If you're using multiple colors, it's a little bit hard. So that's where your acrylic paints really come in handy if you want to do that. And it's an extra step. It's a little extra work to do. But for me, I'm all about just trying new stuff. And I really like how this came out with the different colors. So it worked super good for me. So I hope it works good for you. I'm just checking to see, again, I'm having trouble with the comments. I'm not getting, hey, Rhonda, glitter buddy. Hello, hello. And I see Gina's there too. Probably checking in, sneaking in from work again. That's awesome. So we're using all PPM today. You know, I'm going to use, and I'll show you as we go along. I am going to use a little bit of this awesome metallic copper, which is number 31. When I get done, I'll put all the links in if you guys really want to know. I'm using the 168 coffee bean, which I love this color. This is just such a nice chocolatey, kind of a goldy chocolatey brown. It's really pretty. It's gorgeous. I'm using the 151 Texas Pecan, which is, again, just such, it kind of looks a little reddish, but it's not. It's like a really beautiful brown color. And when I think of geodes, I love to think of the earth, and it's very natural, and that's what I go for. But I am going to get crazy, and I'm going to actually try and do like a pink geode at some point just to see. I love 199 cinnamon stick. And then we're going to use, again, one of my all-time favorites, which I don't even know if this is still available anymore. And I will be so sad if it isn't. So I'm going to actually write Amy and see, because I didn't see it on the site. This is the 315 Sandy Beach that actually came in the beach box, I think in July, maybe. And I love this color so much. This, Montego Bay, they're like two of my absolutely favorite colors that Amy carries. And I really hope that one, it's a basic gold, but it's not too yellowy, and it's not too silvery, because gold can actually lean into that silver tone. And this is just such a beautiful, beautiful contrast. The other color that I ran out of, that I'm going to be using a different, and I like to use all PPMs when I'm doing the videos here. Again, I ran out of the champagne color, so I had to go with another vendor, but I'm going to be reordering from Amy because I like hers better. Actually, it's kind of a champagne color, and it's really pretty. The gold is the 315 Sandy Beach. It's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It came in the beach box, Melissa. So I'm not sure if it's actually available on site. And I will check with Amy to see, because it's really gorgeous. It's just such a gorgeous gold. It's not, like I said, it's not too silver. It's not too yellow. It's just perfect in the middle. And it's pretty, and it also substitutes great out for beach, when the sun is on the sand. If you're going to be doing any kind of beach work, it's such a beautiful enhancement. So it works super good. So for the geode, and you're just tuning in, Melissa, this is I'm doing a similar cup to this, but I'm actually going to be doing it on an actual mug, because I have a customer who wants it on a mug. So I figured that'd be fun to do. It's something different. So I just spray painted my cup, just like we normally would for prep. I'm not going to acrylic it, because I actually sort of want to see what happens under here. Because of the white, and I'm all about experimenting. So, and that's one of the great things is we are artists, and it's up to us to decide what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So what works for me may not work for you, and that's perfectly okay. Just find your own way. So what I did is I kind of just, to speed things along here, I actually sort of dual tone. I put a little bit of dark on here because I wanted some of my area to be a little bit darker. And then I just roughly sketched out what I wanted to do. I don't know if you can see my pencil line because I did go kind of light. Basically what I want to do for my geode. So usually I like to work with one base coat glitter, and then usually no more than 4 glitters from my geode. And the reason for that is because it starts getting really big. I mean, if you were doing a huge fatty cup, that might work to have more color in there. But I found for the 20 ounce, I think this is called a modern curve. I'm not totally positive. I believe this is called a modern curve. I only used 2, 3, 4, 5. I used 4 colors in my actual geode. And then I did 2 extra colors for these 2 parts here. So this gold, which is actually champagne, and then this is the Texas pecan color here, which I did not put into my geode because I did want it to stand out by itself. So once you have, the hardest part is deciding how am I going to put my stuff on here. The great thing that I love about this technique is you can actually use a paint pen. Like if you were doing a black cup, which I'm actually going to be doing a black cup, you can actually use a paint pen to mark your spots so that you can get a visual of what it is that you're doing and how big you want your geode to be. That's also another thing. If you want to carry it down into the bottom, you can. You don't have to, but I like to. The only tricky part is if you're going to be using the chunky on there, you really want to make sure you smash it down good because it can cause irregularity or inconsistency in your cup when you go to stand it up, particularly if your turner's not 100% leveled out, which again, hard lessons. This is how we learn. So that's basically how it goes. So we're going to start off with usually the center of the geode is a chunky glitter. Now, one of the things that people love to use on their geode cups is what's called cheek glitter. And I have tried it. So it's just basically a white glitter. I actually have some here. This one's a fine, and then they have a chunky. There's a chunky. This is a competitor, and I'm not going to promote their product here. I know Amy carries these. I just haven't got mine yet, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this cup without having the stuff? But I had this from a competitor, and again, I'm all about PPM. I love the PPM stuff. I love the product. I love the quality of it. So this was stuff that I had gotten like a long time ago before I even found PPM. So the principle behind cheater glitter is you put it on your cup and then you use alcohol ink, and it will also pick up the color underneath as well, but you just drizzle alcohol ink over the top of it and it turns it color, whatever color that your alcohol ink is, which is really cool. I didn't like it. I personally didn't like doing it that way. I know a lot of people do it, but again, we're artists. We can do whatever we want to do any way that we want to do it. Nobody can tell us what's right or what's wrong. And that's what I love about art. It's wonderful. So, anyhow, this is what we're doing. And so, the other thing is that you do want to use a couple of width brushes. So this is an old brush that I have. I've used it like a billion times. It's one of my Mod Podge brushes because Mod Podge will just destroy a brush if you don't get it all out. All of a sudden you have an uber hard brush. Don't throw it away though. They can actually be helpful when you have a really hard brush and you need to get into a corner or something like that, save those brushes. You can also boil water, or sometimes you can use acetone to break up the glue, but it's a crapshoot one way or the other. I just get my brushes super cheap on Amazon, and that's how I like to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of just paint. That's all you're doing. That's you literally, you're just going to slap on some Mod Podge. I put it on relatively thick. Actually, you know, I think I'm not going to do this cup. I think I'm going to switch to the black one because you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing here, I don't think. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch because I have one started. You're going to be able to see what I'm doing better. So we're going to do the skinny instead. Same colors. So I mapped out this first one. I never start with my center. I always start the next one up. So I'll go my thinner line and then decide what I am actually going to do with it. The nice thing about planning out your lines is it's just a guide. Like, you're not married to this, and if you decide that you want to change what it is that you're doing along the way, change it. It's okay. Nobody's going to see this underneath once you get your glitters on there, and it's super cool. And if anybody's asking me stuff, I'm not seeing anything coming up. Okay, so you slap your glue. This is just a repetitive process. Because this is my second line, I'm not going to, this is going to have chunky in it. I'm going to go with the fine glitter for my next step. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the cinnamon stick and put that on. And I am heavy-handed with my glitter. I really am. I like to make sure that I'm getting good coverage with it the first time. I can't stand having to go back in, repaint, figure out what's going on. And oh my gosh, did I miss it? Did I get it? So I'll just slap on a whole lot. And then you go back in and say, okay, where did I miss? Sometimes you will see that you completely missed your line, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not even going to worry about it. You can still see my white under there. It's all going to get covered up by the time I'm done. Just make sure that you tap it off really good. And then I'm also going to use this color up higher. So for me, I like to skip around. I don't worry too much about going in rows, because what this simply lets me do is, if I was going to do this next section, I would have to wait for this to dry, really, because if I touch it, it's going to smoosh it, and I don't want to get it smooshed. So I just move around from spot to spot, and I only put a couple of lines on here because I wasn't actually going to do this cup, but I figured for the sake of the video, you guys could see what I'm doing a lot better. I'm super excited about next week. I'm going to be doing a 3-part damask cup. Super excited about it. Can't wait. So, again, same thing. Cinnamon stick. We're just going to put that on there. And like I said, I'm heavy-handed, and that's okay. Everybody has their way. I have a piece of parchment paper down underneath. I like parchment paper better than regular paper. I don't know why. I'm just weird like that, I guess. And this is all we're doing. I have worked simultaneously on the other side. So normally with the Geode cup, you would have one near the top and then one at the bottom. I've drawn them both out, worked both at the same time. Works out fine. It's really up to you how fast you want to move along. These are great cups if you have a show to do, if you need to get a whole bunch of things done that are different. This, like the Geode cups are really great for that, because they move really fast. The other nice thing about them is that you can start a bunch, you know, and put on some glitter, walk away, come back, do, you know, let it dry if you want to. But because the Mod Podge is thin on here and we have a base coat, you really don't have to recover it, if you can see what I'm doing here. If you did it the way that I did the other cup, where I individually painted each set of lines a different color that sort of went along with, now right now I'm just brushing off the extra glitter, that went along with the color that I was using, like you can't even see, you can't see any of the holes, the spots. Now I can see them because I like really get in there and look. But there's a few little spots where the glitter didn't quite catch, particularly where there's chunky going in. I did use several different chunkies on that one. And you can't even tell. So I didn't even have to go back in and do any second coats. And just brush off what you can and tap it off. And this is all we're doing. Now, there's other steps that'll be involved when we get through, and I'm just kind of randomly talking at you. Once you get done putting all of your stuff on, and then you do your first layers of epoxy, then you can use paint pens to actually enhance your geode lines, which is really cool. I love that look. I just absolutely love that look. Now I'm coming in on the bottom where I was originally, because I want to put a fairly thin line of a darker color in there. So I'm going to actually I think I'm going to use that copper color in there. I really like this copper color. This is pretty. It's very orangey looking. It really makes stuff pop out. You do want to make sure that your stuff is fairly dry before you put your next color on. If not, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have your glitter is going to go into your other part, and then it's going to stick. Hi, Jerry. Thanks for joining. This is such an awesome group for learning. Like, so many of the folks here, and I know we have men too, so I don't want to just say the ladies, are so creative and so wonderful, and everybody's willing to teach, and which is the best thing about this group. There's no shenanigans about being selfish and not wanting to share and not helping each other. Everybody's all about helping each other here, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So jump in. There's plenty of videos to check out. I'm in Massachusetts, actually. Way up here. Probably 40 minutes from Boston. So it's getting fallish here. It's probably like 50 degrees out right now. Really pretty. The leaves are starting to turn every day. I look out my window and it's like, oh my gosh. Winter is coming because the leaves are just turning so quickly here. Remember, when you're doing a geode, the only rule with the geode is there are no rules. If you don't want to carry a color all the way up and around, you don't have to. If you actually take a geode and you crack open a geode, or you look at particularly the agate slabs, they're completely different. There's no uniformity. They're not the same width. They're not the same thickness. So you can just be creative. Just get in there, be creative. And that's my biggest thing when I teach. I want to teach people to be creative. Never, ever be afraid to try something that you haven't done before. Don't be afraid. Just get in there and do it, because it could be awesome. And that's the only way you're ever going to know is if you practice and you keep going. Okay, so we have 2 lines on. I think the biggest pain about doing multiple colors is you got to keep cleaning up your glitter and going back in and changing your paper. I want to do, Sherry, I agree. And I want to do a bronze and like a bronze, copper, and gold and silver on a black background. I think that would be like awesome. Okay, so while these guys are going to start to dry, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come completely over to the opposite side of the cup, and this is my bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my my paint pen, and I'm going to mark out where I'm going to put my other one. Is what approximate? Hey Snooks, how are you? So again, we're just drawing. This is just visual guidelines for me, so that I don't get all crazy. Of course, I am crazy, and I like to be crazy with my art. But this is really just to give me a visual of where I'm going. And again, you don't have to, you're not married to this. You can totally switch it up any way you want to. I do like some of them to be really wide. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. And on the opposite side, I kind of like a tiny bit of uniformity, just because I'm weird like that. And I like to bring them down pretty far into the cup, where I know some people only do their geodes and they only do just the bottoms. I like to have it go pretty far down. And there we go. Okay, so there's our other side. It looks like a hot mess, doesn't it? But by the time I'm done, it's going to be like, whoa, that's really awesome. I hope. Anyhow, at least my other one came up like so amazing. I was just so completely thrilled with it. And again, remember, you don't have to paint these. So if your middle is one color and, you know, on the top, and then you want to do the other side different, do it. Do whatever. Using the same colors. I think that's the biggest important thing, is that you're using the same colors, so the cup does sort of stay uniform. But if you were to section your cup off, you could actually do a split and do like 2 completely different styles. I think it would look amazing. So if anybody does that, make sure you post pictures. I think it'd be really cool. I think by far of all of the cups that I've done, the geode is probably one of the easiest. It really isn't complicated. It's not like the plaid where you're trying to, you know, get exact squares. And I actually think it's easier than like the Milky Way, for sure. So this side, I think I'm just going to do this orange on just one, and I'm just going to make it a bigger spot. I know I could use a nap too. It'd be like really awesome. I generally save my bottom for last. Just so that I can have a place to stick my hand and spin my cup around and then hold the bottom. Also, another reason that I don't like to do the center part of the geode first, which is the thing most people do. Most people go immediately in, they put the stuff in the middle, and I really don't bother. You also, because you're using multiples, make sure you're brushing it off when it's safe, as far as the glitter is dried enough. And you also don't want to contaminate your glitter on your paper or your plate or whatever it is that you're doing. So, you know, by brushing it off in between, you're just not getting those little flecks, extra flecks in there. This particular style also covers a multitude of mistakes. It really does. You don't have to worry about everything being perfect, because in nature, there's nothing that's consistent and everything is different. There's actually, even if you looked at like petals on a flower, they're different. Every single flower, every single rose bush, is different. Every leaf, although they look similar, they are different. About 2 minutes, Shelly. Not long at all. Like this is not. I'm not like glopping on the Mod Podge. I'm putting on a pretty thick coat of it, but it's not. You can also use an embossing gun, not a heat gun, but like those little embossing guns, which are cheap. I think I got mine on Amazon for like $12 or something. I love Amazon. Amazon's like such your friend. You can actually just pick up one of those, just hit it real fast. I've even used a hair dryer. I don't know if people still have those anymore, but I've actually used a hair dryer, and it works perfectly fine. Just if I really am in a hurry and I really want to move along on the cup. But that's also the reason that I do what I do, where I'm skipping lines. Some people like to go from the top to the bottom. They start in the middle, they go to the next line, they go to the next line, they go to the next line. I don't do that. I don't have the patience. Not that I'm not patient, because I am. I love my art and I love to do it right. But sometimes I just want to move along because I'm excited and I love to see how it's coming out. So I just speed it up with a hair dryer or an embossing gun. Now, everybody that watched the plaid tutorial last week, thank you so much. I had so many people message me and say how much they really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad. I love plaid cups. It's like I hate to say it, but I think it's my favorite out of all of them. I know it's technical, I know it's a lot of work, but I absolutely love doing plaid cups. I would probably teach doing plaid cups all day, every day, if I could. That, and I'm kind of digging the new one that I'm going to be doing next week, which is damask. And it's kind of a peekaboo. And it's marbled, and it's just like complicated, and it's awesome. All right, so I'm just going to let this sit for a second. Yeah, I tell you something. As far as stripping cups go, I don't. Unless it's like a total flub. And honestly, remember, you're the artist. And every cup that gets made, every single one of them, is different. So who's to say it's, I mean, unless it's like you totally botch putting on a water slide, or you're doing an alcohol ink cup that just really it just mushes together. I don't strip anything. I never strip cups. I'll just put them up because you know what? Somebody will like it and they'll buy it. Unless it's, like I said, unless it's a complete and total disaster. And what you think is a disaster may not be a disaster. All right, so now that that's got a chance to kind of set, and again, like I said, these white marks, they're just a visual guideline for me. You don't have to worry about painting the glue exactly the same. I'm letting this sit here for a second because I do want to get in and do a lighter color, and I don't want this darker color to mash up into it. So I'm just going to give it a minute. And I didn't bring my embossing gun in. It's in the other room because I've been fighting with my Cricut and trying to understand vinyl, because I honestly love the Cricut. I love it, but I hate this vinyl that I got. I'm totally new to the Cricut thing and the vinyl thing and the weeding and the cutting and everything. But I got this vinyl on Amazon, and I don't know. I'm going to post a picture of it because maybe some of you have used it. But it's like super thin, and it like rips when I'm trying to weed, particularly on the damask. It's just ripping. Hi, Valerie. How are you? So while this is doing this... This is just about set, and I'll be able to move on. Let me see. All right. So because I'm going to be doing tutorials every Friday, I'm looking for ideas. So if there's things that you want to learn about, things that you want to see, message me and let me know. I really want to know what it is that you want to see, what you want to learn about. Because if it's something that I haven't done, I would love that even more, because I love to learn and I love to expand my art. I'm working on a couple of really big projects too, where I'm using the big blue mold that Amy sells. I love that damn thing. It's like the best. It's huge though. It takes so much resin, so you really have to plan out what it is that you're doing with it. But the thing is monstrous. And this is just a repeat process. I mean, really, you put on the glue along the line, you tap it off. That's all you're doing. Putting it on, tapping it off. Certainly not difficult to do, so don't let this one scare you. I think that this would be really... Thanks, Snooks. I appreciate it. That would be amazing, because I'm really... I bought Oracle. I got some other package because I wanted some black sheets of vinyl, because like I said, being new to the whole vinyl game, and I wasn't sure. And so I found it on Amazon, and it's just, I don't know, it's like, I mean, it weeds really easily, but it also tears super easy. And it also won't let me pick up little tiny, like it won't leave behind the damask pattern that I'm using. There's some really little leaves that have to stay, and it's just ripping them right off. It's like, and then I lose them. Okay, so that's about the amount of glue that I'm using, and you notice it's not super smooth. And I actually found I did go through, I did smooth it out, I made it all nice. And then I found what was happening is my glitter coverage was not good on it. So I use, like I said, I use about that much, and I sort of dab it, and it works way better for me. But I've said a million times, what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay, because that's what makes art beautiful. I like to use a couple of different size brushes when I'm doing this too, just so that I can get thinner lines of the Mod Podge at times. And sometimes sometimes I use a wider brush. Not a lot though, because I really love the control that I get with this particular size brush. And I bought like a big bag of them for, I think it was $7 or $8 on Amazon. So super cheap. They rinse out really easily, so not a problem there. But also, if I happen to forget, I don't feel like I'm throwing away a lot of money by throwing the brush away. And the other thing I like about these is they don't, when you go to clean, a lot of times the middle bristles will pull right out of the brush. These will shift a little bit, but they do move, they do go back in very easily. So I think that's a bonus. And that's where we're at. Next time I do multiple colors, I think I'm going to try a technique I saw where you have several different plates or papers, and then, like you're just working, like my orange, I'm just going to put, and I'll pull my orange paper over so I don't have to constantly be dumping off in between glitters, which would be real nice, because that slows you down a lot too when you have to clean up. All right, so I did the brown, which is the Texas pecan, and then I did another one. Now I'm going to leave this, and I'm going to move to the top part so that has the opportunity to dry. And that's what I really like about doing it this way, is it lets me keep moving and not have to constantly be walking away and waiting for stuff to dry. And by the time I get done with this side, it will be dry enough that I'll be able to move, keep moving back and forth. Yeah, I think that's a great, Christina, that's like a brilliant idea. Love the idea. I mean, I've got a bazillion file folders in the other room, and I think that would work super good. Thank you for that suggestion, because I love it. I'm going to try that, because as long as you can remember what color what color the file folder is, yeah, definitely. All right, so we're getting into the bigger part. Well, thank you for sharing the idea anyhow. Like I said, it's always helpful to have new ideas and ways to do things more efficiently. Because for me, I find that the whole like cleaning up, moving on, that it slows me down a lot, and sometimes I really just like to move along a little bit quicker. Okay, so I'm going to do, I think I used this coffee bean on this one. Oh, that's pretty. This coffee bean color Amy has is absolutely gorgeous. It's too bad it doesn't smell like coffee beans, though. That would be like totally awesome. Can you imagine? Like smell-o-vision for glitter. Would that not be awesome? I think it'd be awesome. Okay. Sometimes you don't need to brush, sometimes you do. It depends on how much extra you got on there. I was pretty generous that time around, so. And don't worry about making a mess in the middle of your cup, unless you're doing white, because it's all going to get covered up. You're never going to see it. I found a neat little trick, too, when doing this, when sometimes you'll have like this spot that just the glitter didn't hold. And because it's a geode, and like I said, in nature there's no consistency. Things aren't the same. I know, huh? Isn't that awesome? I love it. You can just put a little pinch of color in there, and it isn't, I think it makes it look more natural. I really do. I really did like doing the other cup, though, when I painted the similar color to what the glitter is underneath. I really like the way that it popped. I'm noticing that with this, it's dark because it's black, which is okay, and it's still going to be amazing. But I think that the other one really, 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 like, it just pops so much from it. And for those of you who haven't seen it, this is what I was talking about. Each one of these has a different color underneath. And it just really makes it explode. All right. Then you get the tricky part. You reach a point in the cup where, because if you come out too wide on your sides, it makes it hard to pick up. So there's another reason why I try to leave a good size gap so that I can actually pick my cup up and hold it or move it. Let me just, give me a second here, folds. See if I missed a question. All right. So, coffee bean. Love it. So, has anybody got the Halloween boxes yet? I was very blessed where a friend of mine had paid me back some money that they owed me. And I decided that I was going to treat myself and splurge. And I got the big Halloween box, but I haven't, and the pink box, but I haven't seen them yet. They're not here yet. And I'm dying to know, like, are they amazing? I know Amy shipped them out, but I haven't seen them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm like a little kid in a candy store when I get my new glitter. My granddaughter came over, and she always gets excited when she sees the pink and purple monkey on the thing, because she's like, oh, you got new glitter. I want to see it. And I actually, she pinched one of my glitters the last time she was here. And I was just like, I know I had purple glitter. I know I had ordered purple glitter because I was working on a Prince cup. And there was no purple glitter. So I had to call her and I said, so did you pinch my purple glitter? And she said, well, I only borrowed it so that I could do a school project. And I was like, okay, I have craft glitter that you can have. Keep your hands off my good glitter. don't mind sharing, but no, you don't take my good glitter to do your school project. So anyhow, so like I said, guys, this is like super, I think this is probably one of the easiest cups to do. It's great for beginners. It's very forgiving as far as, because there's no consistency and it doesn't have to be consistent. You don't need to worry about squares or anything. So once you have a basic line down, what I'm doing now is I had the original big lines. Now I'm just kind of filling in where I was, where there's holes. And some of them are going to be a little wider. Some of them are going to be a little thinner. And that's okay. There's no right and no wrong with this. And I know I sound like a broken record, but it's true. This is your art. This is your style. You do it your way. And it's amazing the way that it is. However it comes out. Don't let anybody diminish that by saying, well, it doesn't look like this other person's. It's like, so what? So what if it doesn't look exactly the same, or if it's not the same colors or whatever? You think Da Vinci or Picasso or Monet cared? No, they didn't care. They did their own thing. This big orange one, I'm actually gonna, now that I'm looking at it and it's got a chance to dry, when this dries, I'm actually gonna break it up. And I'm gonna just put at the top here, I'm gonna just throw in another color. I think it's just a little too much. That orange is, it's actually not orange. It's metallic copper. And I think it's just a little too much for that spot. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. You probably can't see me paint using the Mod Podge. But that's okay, because I'll just keep spinning it around. So like I said, I'm more than willing. I'm going to be doing tutorials every Friday. If you think of something cool that you want to see, let me know. It doesn't have to just be cups. I mean, I do a lot of different things. So I can, you know, I'm more than willing to share what I've learned. And I'm also more than willing, if you're wanting to try something, you've never tried it before and you just can't imagine doing it, like, talk to me, because I'm like way happy to learn new stuff and figure out the easier way to do it, and then pass that on to people so that they're not so intimidated, just like I did with the plaid cups or some of the other things. Did this great fabric tumbler, which people thought was super complicated, and it was like one of the easiest things. Oh, well. Okay, so. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the kids just want to be part of it. They want to do stuff that we're doing, and you know, honestly, I would rather have my granddaughter be interested in what I'm doing and sharing that time with her, because pretty soon, You know, they're going to be grown up and they're not going to want to be around. They're going to want to be off with their friends. And so if I can keep them interested in doing stuff and crafts, that'd be awesome. I taught her how to sew. She knows how to use a sewing machine now, and she's doing super good with that. Okay, so now the other cool thing about this technique too is if you notice that there's holes and spots in where your stuff is, that's okay. Don't worry about it right now. Finish doing what you're doing, and then the next time you come to use the color that you were using, just go back in and put a little drop or two of glue there and continue on. Super, super easy. And if you're finding like I have a lot of like stray glitter, just come in with a little brush and just brush it off before you put your glue on, so you're not contaminating your colors. Unless you don't care about that. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't want, I actually have like a dump cup that I did when I did the original one. And I think I'm going to use some of that in here because it's got some good colors in it. So I'm dying to see the boxes that are coming out. The Halloween box and the pink box. Can't wait to see those. Halloween is, of course, my favorite time of year. So anything Halloween, I'm all over. And then we go right into Christmas, which is my second favorite holiday. So, because hey, crafting, this is what we do, and got to get excited for it. All right, so I have that dump cup which is really cool. It's just a whole mishmash of browns, and there's a little chunky in here. There's a little ultra fine, there's a little color shift, it's like kind of everything in this. That looks awesome because there's chunky in here. Remember, when there's chunky, tap it down. Tap it down. Isn't this it? I did that. The first cup I did, I don't know. I've always been one to go for the harder things. And I did this totally awesome chunky cup. And of course, I was brand new and I had no idea what I was doing. I had never made a cup before in my life. All I knew was, wow, that's really cool, and I want to learn how to do those. So I did. And so I put all this chunky glitter on this cup, and, I'm like, awesome. And I had no idea how to make it. I didn't know I was supposed to tap down the chunky glitter. Oh my gosh. I had to sand and sand and sand, because somebody said, oh, well, put on 2 layers of epoxy and then sand it until it's smooth. It took me like forever. And I still couldn't get it smooth. So again, being new, I went in and I thought, well, I'll just put another layer of epoxy on, because that's what you do, right? You just put another layer of epoxy on, it'll smooth it out. Well, no, it didn't. And so the chunky just seemed to be getting chunkier, and the cup was just growing. And by the time I finally got it smooth And again, I didn't realize that you could use a power sander or a belt sander or any, you know, like anything on there. And I'm just using this little sander block and I'm trying to get it to smooth out and it wouldn't smooth. Well, the thing has got to weigh like 5 pounds. It had so much epoxy on it. It was just like, so we all have that one cup. We all have that learning cup, and I don't even know where I was going with that, but I just thought that it was a funny story. So this is where we're at with it. I'm going to do one more line around each of these, and then I am going to mask, let it sit for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to mask it off and I'm just going to finish it. Some people like to just fill the whole thing in and just use a single color. That's awesome. You can totally do that. But me, I love a lot of expression, and I just think that the other one came out so good that what I'm going to do is I want to kind of go along with that. I'll probably leave like this strip here so I could put a name in there, and then the other side I want to kind of like do some geometric-y kind of thing with tape. But it's really easy. It's like, don't be afraid of this cup, guys. Honestly, these are like the easiest, I think, out of the, like, I think these are even easier than the solid, like just all one color glitter, because one of the things is when you're doing all one color glitter, depending upon your application, if you're doing epoxy method, you're doing Mod Podge on there, and then you get like that weird, like it looks like oily spots, or you know, the glitter absorbs the epoxy too much because you put too much epoxy on, or it's weird. It's like and it comes out splotchy. With this, nobody's gonna know. You can make mistakes, and nobody's ever gonna know that you made a mistake. And if you decided, oh well, you know what, I had originally wanted to put you know, brown where the gold is. Well, who's going to know? You know. Nobody else is going to know. So it's so easy. It's so fun. This is like one of those no-brainer kind of things that you can do, and do a whole stack of these for shows. Get your craft fairs going. Fill it, you know, anything that you need to do. This is one of the easier cups. And the other thing I like about these, because I struggle with water slides terribly, is that you don't have to worry about putting anything else on here, because with the Geode, it is it's a standalone. It looks gorgeous just the way that it is. So if you want to enhance it and put a name on it, you could, but again, not totally necessary. What I'm doing now is I noticed that I had actually touched one of the spots where I had the copper color, and so what it did was it took off that little area. So I just went back in and filled it in. But this is what it's all about. I'm looking forward to next week so much. It was like I wanted to do it this week when Amy asked me what I was doing, and I wanted so badly to go. I'm doing the Damask cup, but I just didn't have the time to prep. And I'm also I don't have the because it's so many steps. I want to have like a couple made so that I can actually show you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly, Ron. I love doing these. They're just so fast and so fun, and it's like, yes. Trying to think. Okay, so I Okay, so now I'm going to do the final line around here, and I'll do the final line around here. Then I'm going to fill the centers, and then I'm going to finish off the cup with it. So because I want to do another line around the outside edge, but I don't want it super thick, I'm going to switch out the brush that I'm using, and I'm going to use a thinner. Actually, it's technically not thinner, but this is one of the things that I love about dried out. You know, like this was a one of my Mod Podge brushes, and I guess I just didn't get it clean. I thought I did, but I was tired. And then what I ended up doing is the next day, it was like totally hard. And I'm like, I'm never going to get that out. And I've put this thing in hot water. I've put it in acetone. I put it in, I don't even know what else I've tried. I mean, I basically tried I tried putting it in Clorox, like bleach, to get it to loosen up. But when that glue dried, it just totally dried. And I don't think it was Mod Podge that I was using. I think I was using something else. And it really stuck on there. So I'm like, well, this chisel end is actually great because it lets me put a thin layer around the edge, particularly for edging. Because when you're doing edging, you do want it to kind of look good. And then the last step will be the bottom. And there's no real rules with the bottom either. Like, you can follow your pattern that you already have, like, you know, where the gold is, you bring it in, or you can sort of just do whatever. I've actually taken my dump cup, poured it out, put Mod Podge over the bottom, and then just mished it in. Done that. Works super good too. It really depends on the look that you're going for, like I said. So it's such a forgiving cup, and I just love that. Has anybody done ornaments yet? Has anybody tried those cool looking, I think they're tiles. And I'm dying to know more about those. Like, I'm just fascinated with them. I think they're really neat because they're a different shape, and they're just not like normal. And I really love that. And I want to know more about that. So if anybody's done that, I'd be super interested. Where's my dark brown? Dark brown, yeah. So again, I like this Texas pecan. Amy has like the best colors. They're just gorgeous. I have a couple of other places that I'll occasionally get stuff from, but I want to say like 95% of my stuff is all PPM because I just really love the quality of it. Ooh, yeah. There we go. Let's see, get my hand out of there. I've also decided that when I'm doing fancy work like this, I really like the 30-ounce skinnies because this is a little rough on the hand because this is just a 20. So make sure that you get your seams pretty good. Now, again, we're talking about forgiveness in the design too. Once you get that first layer, or actually 2 layers of epoxy over your glitter, and you have to seal this when you're done. You're going to seal it, wait 24 hours, and then after that, you can put your first 2 layers of epoxy on top. Once that's done, then you can come back in with paint pens, whatever colors that you want to use. If you want to use bronze or gold, or I like the Krylon. I'm really a fan of the Krylon. I've got a gazillion different kinds, And I found that the Krylon 18 karat gold leaf pen works phenomenally. There's a silver one as well that it's not Krylon, but I really like. I do have a Krylon in the silver, but then I got this other one, which is called American Accents. It's by Rust-Oleum. These work super good. Super, super good. So the gold is definitely Krylon, but the silver can either be Rust-Oleum or Krylon, either, whatever your choice is. Doesn't really matter. They both are consistent. They both work super good. I also picked up a bunch of colored pens by a company. It's again on Amazon. They come from Japan, and they're called Pose, Pose. They add all kinds of colors, all kinds of widths. Those work super, super good. And you can buy mixed sets, or you can get single color silver, golds, white, and black. I am not a fan of their metallics. I do prefer the Krylon or the Rust-Oleum for my metallics. All right. So we'll finish this other side up, and then I can get to either the bottom or the other side. This is drying like really fast, which is wonderful. I love the fact that you're not really glopping this on super heavy. You do want to let it dry when you're done before you seal. You really want to give your Mod Podge a chance to dry. I like to wait usually till the next day. So if I'm working on something, in the afternoon, I always wait until the next day, just because I want to make sure the Mod Podge is dry and it's not going to slide off. Rhonda, are you talking about the piñata in the containers, like the liquid, or is it a paint pen? Because I have the piñata in it's an alcohol ink, and it's in a bottle that you have to pour off into like a smaller bottle. And I love the gold. I absolutely love the gold. You can brush it on with the brush. Works really good. The silver one, I want to say my jury is still out on, because I only just got it and I only used it one time and I had a little bit of problem with it. I think that the problem more so is that I didn't really shake it well enough. But give me one sec to finish this line, and I will pull it up and I will see. Yep. Hang on one second. Yeah, let's see how bad that settles. It also makes a horrible mess, like when you're filling and using the little what the heck's it called? The little funnel thing into the little squeezy bottles. Oh my gosh, what a mess. I mean, you can see from my bottle, it really made a horrible, horrible mess. But I like the gold a lot. It goes on really easy. It does spread out though. That was one. Maybe that's true without all alcohol inks. I've been working a lot more with alcohol ink. I have not tried a tumbler with alcohol ink yet because I just like I'm worried about how that's gonna look. I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough done with them to be confident, but I'm definitely like wanting to try it. But I do like the piñata. Actually, maybe I'll try that on this once I get my epoxy. I'm going to get like a fine line brush. I also have heard using like these little dotting tools, the little styluses, to pick up the alcohol ink and use it to draw your lines works really well. I have not had the chance to try doing that yet, but I want to give it a shot and see, because hey, why not? Okay, so I have all that on there. The main color that I'm going to be doing on here is going to be like that champagne-y gold color. So I'm hoping that ooh, I gotta plug you in. Okay, this angle's gonna get weird here for a second, guys. Sorry. I gotta put you in my cup. Going in my cup, guys. There. Hey, whoops. Knocked you over. There we go. Sorry. Phone. I don't know why going live just totally sucks the phone battery dead. It's crazy. So I'll just move the cup up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just giving this a second to kind of get itself straightened out. I'll show you. I'm not going to use the cheater glitter in here. I think I'm just going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to use it. Just because I think it looks really cool. And you can change it color. So let me grab my alcohol ink and so I can show you how to do that if you don't know. Some of you already do know. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to use the alcohol ink, and I'm going to use the Tim Holtz. No, I'm sorry. This is Ranger Ginger. No, wait. It is Jim Holtz. What the heck am I talking about? I had a lot of fun with alcohol inks when I first started doing resin work, because I was doing a lot of beach scenes, and I loved it. I just loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so fun. It feels like I haven't done a beach scene in forever, and I really want to. I'm working on, like I said, one of those real big trays that Amy sells, and I'm like super excited because it's so big. Oh my golly. And I was going to pour it all as one pour, and then I'm like, you know what? No, because something that big, I think it really will allow you to layer super nice. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm putting it in the center, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry it down into the bottom. Yeah, the Petri dish stuff is really cool. I like coasters too. I love doing the coaster, like the Geode coasters. Those are just awesome. Lots of fun on those. All right. So we're going to do I did find that cheap glitter needs, I don't know why, it needs more of the Mod Podge to hold it in. So I put it in a little bit thicker than I normally do. This is a mix. This is, like I was saying, this is a different company. And, where's my cups? Cuppy cups. Where did I put them? There they are. It's a mix of chunky and a fine together, which I think will work real good. Now, because it's a chunky, we want to make sure that we push it in, push it down. Cheater glitter on itself is pretty. I mean, it's sort of this iridescent, whoops, look at that, threw it right at us. Iridescent whitish color. It's real pretty. I mean, I think I would use it just as a regular glitter. If I needed something that was really white. So again, push it in. It's almost like powdery. Like the fine part of it is almost like a, it's almost like a powder. It's kind of weird, but cool. And I'll just do the other side while I got it out. Rhonda, did you try the plaid cup yet? Have you had a chance? Lots of fun. Lots and lots of fun on those. Oh my gosh. Actually, you know, I bet you could do that on anything too. It wouldn't have to just be a cup. I bet you could do it. So it's white. But when I put that ginger on there when this dries, it's really going to be awesome. Oh. How many of us have done that, right? All right. I love these little medicine cups. It just makes the application of stuff super easy. And I love the fact that, like, you can pinch them and make it just, like, do what you want it to do. So if you need, like, a thin line of glitter coming down, it's thin. If you want to just kind of dump it, you can dump it. It's really cool. Okay, so while those are drying, I'm just going to go back in and I just want to check to see, like, okay, did I get a decent coverage on some of the spots? Some of the spots, I noticed that they're pulling away just a tiny little bit. And I probably just didn't have enough up against the next color. So I'm just going to throw that on there. I just had like I had like 2 spots that didn't, for some reason, want to cover, which was there and there. And I'm just going to throw those in. I just want to be careful I don't get it into my stuff I just put on there, because that glue's still dry. I mean, that glue's not dry, so it's going to pick it up. All right, so here is where we're at with the top. and the bottom of the cup. So at this particular point, normally what I like to do is I like to now do my bottom, which is what I'm going to do up real quick. And then I just wait like maybe just a very few minutes. It doesn't have to be long. And let your glue kind of just get really solid. Doesn't have to be 100% dry, because I'm going to actually I'm going to hang it over a bottle and let it really dry good overnight. But I want to make sure that I'm getting like all this part done, so you guys can see how I'm doing that. And before I do that, let me get rid of this. Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Rhonda. What's going on? You all right? Or you just feeling punk, or like? Well, speedy healing, my friends. I'll send you some Reiki energy tonight. Hopefully that'll help you feel better. I just love this gold so much. This gold is like one of my all-time favorites. And if Amy doesn't have it anymore, I'm going to be so sad. I will be so sad, because it's such an amazing color. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just following kind of along my color scheme on the bottom of what I have in the front, and bringing it around, just filling in this bottom part. Which is this color. And you can see, I mean, I'm moving pretty quickly. I'm really not like letting it do it. And then I'll just brush it off. And it's okay if it, I don't know. I personally think it looks cool when it sort of goes together on the bottom. Because normally, like I said, I just tend to use like a dump cup on it. And of all the different mixes that I'm using for the cup that I'm working on, because I think it looks nice. I never understood the whole thing where people want the same cup everybody else has. I think it's cooler to have like your own individual style. All right. So normally I would, at this point, have, I'm just going to finish up the bottom with some, like, mix that I have, which was in my dump cup, because I want it to kind of go along with what I'm going to be doing on the sides. All right. And again, chunky, chunky, chunky. Tap it down, tap it down. I always say this. Make sure you're tapping it down. If you don't tap it down, the chunky is going to be a pain when you put your epoxy on. So it's better to deal with it as you're putting it on. Just push it all down, kind of get an idea of where it is and what it's doing. And if you get any like big old straggler pieces, just brush them off, because I don't want chunky on my sides. Oh, my helper kitty is going to come in. He's going to come to visit. Don't jump up here. Cool. Now, so I can actually touch this now. It's pretty, like on where I was working before, it's pretty dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the sides a really good brush, and then we're going to finish up the sides. The sides are like, this is super easy because it's just sort of like a flood sort of thing that you're doing with the colors. My last cup, I did something neat, and I really liked how it came out, so I'm going to actually do it again, where I used tape, and I'm going to do that again because I really, really liked the way that it came out. I think it made it quite unique and different. So all I'm doing is I'm just laying down some tape. I like to work off the roll. I don't know. I know some people like to save their tape and they don't like wasting, but me, I just assume do it off the roll. I just chop it off and put it down and whatever. All right. So oh, Doris isn't on today. I haven't seen her. Usually Doris is here. So there's our tape. The reason I didn't push it down on this end is because that's still doing its thing. And now all we're going to do is we're going to pick our color, and I'm actually going to use my light color, which is sort of a goldy champagne type color, and now we're just going to Mod Podge it on. Make sure you get up against your geode where you're working. Make sure you're getting a good line up against there so that it's going to stick to your glitter. And this part, I've done it a couple of different ways. I have covered my whole cup and then gone in and sprinkled. And what I found happened was it started drying, because it tends to dry out like really fast. So kind of split my cup, and I just do half and then I do the other half. And then once I get so I'm going to do this half, and then I'm going to do the other half I'm going to do on the other side, I'm going to do that half, so that I can pull that piece of tape off as quickly as possible, because I don't want it, I want to actually have a line on my glitter that looks kind of straight. And that's just me. Like I said, this is a completely 100% optional step with the tape. You don't have to do it. You can just fill in your cup the way that you know, with the solid. You can just go ahead and fill it in. Me, I like this kind of chevron-y sort of look. I think it's cool. And oh, next time I do this, I think what I'm going to do, next live I do, I think I'm going to bring in my little extra phone charger and see if that works better than putting you guys in a cup. Now, it's a little tricky because I didn't think this through, did I? All right, I can touch that. Let me get my tape. All right. Better. All right. And now just the other side. And you're going to follow the same thing. Then where I take the tape off and I have that stripe, once this is a little drier, I'm actually going to put a darker color there just to contrast it, because I think it will look really cool. And thanks everybody for joining me today. This is like so awesome that you all took time out of your day to watch. And I hope this helps, because like honestly, these cups are not intimidating at all. Super fun to do and really easy to do as well. So you can practice, experiment. There's really no right nor wrong way to do this, particularly where you're doing a geode cup. There's no right nor wrong way. And now we're just going to fill it in. It's just something about the way that glitter falls, isn't it? It's just so pretty. It's like, I like mica too. I love working with micas and watching it swirl and all right. A good tap. Find a way to pick this up. All right, I'll set you down and pick up my glitter. Always surprises me how much glitter you go through doing a cup, but yet how much is actually left over by the time that you're done. Because you know, you're sprinkling it on and you're letting it fill in, and then you're actually brushing it off, and it's like, oh, I still have a whole pile of glitter there. So it really doesn't take as much as we think that it takes to do the cups, which is awesome, because I really like to kind of salvage as much glitter as I can. I can't imagine just, you know, mixing it all together and pouring one color on top of the next, on top of the next. So if you guys have any questions, you can always ask me. If there's anything that you'd like to see me do a tutorial on, please let me know. There's some super, as I've said before, amazingly talented people in this group who are more than willing to share technique and style to help you to learn how to do something, to be a better artist, or just to do more cups, better cups, however you want to, whatever you want to learn. There's just amazing people here. Okay, so pulling my tape. And see if I have a place to grab a hold of. And the final 2 steps at this point before I set it to dry is going to be fill in the remainder of the space with a darker color, and then to fill in the cheater glitter that's in the center of the geode with the ginger alcohol ink, and then that'll be all set. All right, so I'm trying to remember which side I did first. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do a nice line here. Again, you can move pretty quickly. You don't have to wait. You can certainly wait in between to let your stuff dry. You absolutely can, but you don't necessarily have to. This technique allows for a lot of play in time. And it's also nice that if you're in the middle of something and you have kids or animals or a telephone call and you need to stop, you can stop in the middle and not worry about it messing up. It's not like when you're trying to do something on the turner and then you walk away for 5 minutes and your epoxy starts to harden up on you. Definitely loving the 30-ounce skinnies over the 20s just because it allows me to put my hand up inside those 30s without feeling like it's getting squished. If you work with Mod Podge a lot, you already know this, that you got to watch out for that skim that happens when it's been out for a little bit and it starts to dry. For those of you who are new, it's kind of like, it's gross. Well, best way to describe it is it's almost like a mucusy kind of thing that happens to it, and it gets this weird film on it. So you really want to be careful that when you're putting your Mod Podge on your cup, that you don't have that going on, because it will, in most cases, show underneath of your glitter. And that's not really appealing to the eye, to have like these weird bulges and stuff underneath your glitter. So, another reason that I'm not an enormous Mod Podge fan, but I'm finding that it's really necessary in more and more applications to be able to effectively use it. And it does dry relatively quickly, so be prepared to sort of move at a quicker pace, which again, with this technique, is really great, because you can walk away and let it, like do a small section and then walk away from it. let it dry, come back to it. You can move as quickly or as slowly as you're comfortable with. And that to me is great, particularly when you're learning. There's a lot of seasoned people out there. They've been doing this for a really long time and they don't think anything of it. And I think sometimes as we become more seasoned, we sort of forget the struggles that the new folks are going through. And you don't need to feel rushed in this process. You just take your time and make sure that you have, that what's important is your coverage is good. Let me find a place to grab this so you can see what I just did. And now we're just going to leave that sit a minute. I'm going to just tap that off. I'm going to set this down for a second and not touch where I just put, which I just did. I'm not going to touch that. So let me put this down a second, clean this up, and then I'm just going to show real fast how to fill in over the cheater glitter. And then we're done. Okay, so we have our cup. It's all glittered. It's all pretty. We've checked it over to make sure that we don't have any shiny spots. We didn't hit it with our fingers. We've got really good coverage. I have one spot that needs to be gone over again right here. I think the Mod Podge just dried just a little bit quicker than I would have liked it to. Or I touched it when I shouldn't have, which I'm notorious for doing. Okay, so cheater glitter. Love, 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 love. In some cases. So what I normally do is I will start off with just a little tiny bit of alcohol ink going directly on this white part. So I'm going to try and angle this so you can sort of see, and you just sort of want to touch it and let it fall down. You don't want to like squeeze like a ginormous lot of this on here, because it will it's gonna like leach into it, and then I like to move it around and just see where it goes. If I find that I need more, I'll come back in and put more in. And I'll just let that kind of, it's actually moving. I don't know if you can see, but just that couple of drops I put in there is actually moving through the cheater glitter. If you add too much, what it's going to do is it's going to spill out all over your cup. And another reason that I like to wait to do this until last, so that I have all my other glitters on there, and if it does leach into something else, it's not necessarily going to show. And there you go. And that's all there is to it. And see, I just touched it, so yucky. But easy enough. Easy enough to fix. You just add one more drop and it'll fill it right up. And alcohol ink does dry very quickly, which is lovely. I do like that fact. But alcohol inks and cheater glitter is absolutely not necessary to do one of these. The only thing is I do like to use the chunky in the middle, just because it gives it a more natural, organic look. But you can use any chunky glitter that you want to. My last one, I used a combination of chunky and cheater glitter. I used a I don't know what I used. There's like a pumpkin spicy color. So I filled that in. I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to see what it does. The only thing is that because it's white and it's, I don't know if you'd say it's holographic or not, you do want to make sure that it's covered. I don't worry about it dripping inside my cup because it's very easy to take off. You just put alcohol and take it off. And then to dry, I just take my whole cup and I'll stick it on a water bottle and leave it sit overnight. So, I hope this was fun and you guys learned something. And I'm going to be back next Friday. I'm going to be doing damask marbled cup. I think it's going to be so fun and so cool. I have to have a couple ready so that I can actually show you stages because it is a long process, but it's so cool. And I will see you all next week. So, happy crafting, guys. And please support Amy and Pink and Purple Monkey. She offers great high quality glitters and other super, super products for everybody. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye. Oh, and look at all the glitter on me.